Come get your money. Pay late carp fishing with Donald Barrow. Hello, everybody. This is Donald Barrow. I'm going to start something new. I've done a lot of bait videos, a lot of videos of me going fishing. I have a few more up my sleeve, but I wanted to I wanted to talk about some of the questions I get uh, on a weekly basis. Comes in a lot of them from new carp fishermen. Others just asking about specific tackle I use and what's out there. And I said, that'd be great. Let's talk. Hey guys, I'm back. I'm getting a little crazy with the camera. It's pretty obvious if you watch my videos. I'm a real newbie at this, real raw videos. I'm uh, learning as I go, as they say, and I enjoy every bit of it. I get to talk carp fishing. What could be better? This other way. Hopefully, this is coming like I see it on the preview, but you never know. I've been surprised. This could be take number 10 by the time I get done with it. When you start carp fishing, pay lakes, and I guess I should stress that first. The gear I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to have some upcoming videos, is on pay lake carp fishing. I know there's a lot of videos out there on wild carp fishing, pay lake, not so much, a few. Uh, and those videos are precious to me because the guys that put that information out there when I started, uh, I devoured it. I still watch it. Hell, I forget recipes. I watch my own videos to remember how to make stuff. But back to gear. Uh, when you want to when you see pay like carp fishing and you're like, this is for me. I got to get in the game. Uh, there is a steep startup cost, and it's interesting. The reels aren't expensive. The rods aren't expensive compared to pretty much every type of fishing I've done. Bass fishing, uh, you're using a bass fishing rod, and really the very high end, super lightweight bass fishing rods that are out there that are $300 to $500 are not what you want to use. Not because of affordability. How there's guys into pay lake carp fishing that can buy boatloads of the highest end rods out there. What you want though is durability. And when you fish pay lakes, it's not, there's a select set of rods that people use. Sure, there's one-offs, but when you go to a high-end event, you'd be surprised how almost everybody is using, within 5 or 10 brands of the same rod. There's not a lot of variety. Same with reels. I fish in North Carolina, and there's regional preferences. In North Carolina, it's rare to see spinning rods, but in other parts of the country, in Georgia, in fact, I fished next to a guy from Georgia who had spinning rods. In Pennsylvania and Indiana, there's guys with spinning rods. Uh, Not so much in North Carolina. Uh, it's rare to see somebody with a spinning rod. Uh, the tackle is these guys have been fishing for 50 plus years, and it's it's evolved down to, hey, this is what works, this is what we use. Um, I'm not saying you can't be different and you have to use exactly what they're using, but as I've evolved as a fisherman, I've ended up using pretty much what they're using. So, and there's reason for that. It works best. So I'm going to give my opinions. You guys, of course, it's an opinion. There are others, but here we go. Uh, if you start pay late carp fishing and money is a factor and you want to economize, uh, I went too cheap. I say that because there are rods made in reels. We're talking reels. There are reels made in China uh, that look to emulate an Arbu Garcia, or one of the primary reels thrown at a pay lake. They're 6,500 size or 5,500 size. Uh, they won't get the job done. Um, I threw a model from Bass Pro Shop, and I love everything about that store. But these reels, it was everything in me to get them to cast far enough. Lucky thing for a year warranty, I had to send two back because they were broken within the year. Um, it was not a good experience. Uh, when you fish a pay lake, the two things that can happen that can limit you is in, if you don't have a scooter and you have to fish within a walking distance, so it limits some of the far spots, or if you don't have the casting ability to fish a spot correctly. And what I mean by that, uh, there are spots that you have to throw a long distance, throw to the rope or pretty well near it, and it's a long cast. If you can't make that cast, you're limited. You're looking at spots that you don't have to, so you're limiting a spot you can take that may be the best spot for you to fish. So reels are important. Uh, let me go over what I think is the best reel for a guy starting out. I fish for wicketed, but this isn't a wicketed reel. This is a I hate to admit this. I blacked it out just to look cool years ago with black paint from one of those hobby stores. Didn't do a great job, but in the wintertime it was cold. I was bored, and next thing you know, you get an all black reel. This is a Pacific Sun Chaos 50. I think it's S6 50 or C50, but it's the 50 series. They make a 40 and a 60 series. The 40 series doesn't have the gear ratio, and it doesn't have some of the parts that the 50 and the 60 have. The 60, in my opinion, is a little too big. The 40, you can use, the size is right, but the 50, for a couple of bucks more, is a much better reel. These reels have real good drag, and they cast far. Um, the spool bearings are in the center, are on the spool, and just kind of like a boo. Uh, I'm going to tell you, this is a great reel, a great value. These things sell for 50, 60 bucks. You can get them for like 50 bucks if you buy two or three at a time, and you need three or four. If you're fishing in North Carolina, I needed five. So um, this is the route I went. Not at first. I messed up. I messed around a lot until I came across these, and this got me into the game. Uh, I still use them. I use them as my fifth reels a lot of times. Um, the pros, it's all pros price wise. The only con that I find with these is uh, a little bit in the durability. And it's not really durability, it's the quality control. I will have reels that will cast considerably better than other reels. Reels will make noise. It's the alignment. There's not a lot of alignment spec in the spool. And when I say that, I've seen guys, when I was throwing these a lot and I had 6 or 7 of them, and I was kind of known that, hey, he's the guy with the Pacific Fun reels, to go to him because I could take them apart. But there were guys with brand new reels, and I would spend forever trying to get the spool centered correctly so that it would throw and not lock up. And it's these screws. Usually they come out of the box not too bad, but when you have to take them apart, and you do because uh, they either have too much or too little oil. It's never consistent, so you have to lubricate them. There's videos online how to do it. I followed them. I would make a video to show you, but it would be the worst video ever. And not that my videos are great, but it is tricky work. In fact, the screws loose on this one. But with adjustments, these things are great casting, good reels. Um, they don't have the drag washers of an Abu Garcia. They're pretty good. You always got to remember to loosen them when you're done fishing, because if you don't, they'll lock up. I'm always playing with the drag, adjusting it, because for some reason in the middle of the night, and I believe it has to do with hot and cold, I fish from uh, 6 p.m. and it's 90 degrees to 100 degrees in North Carolina to 2 a.m. on a lake. And between that time, it drops sometimes to 60 and even into the 50s in the spring, and even some summer nights are with rain. With all that humidity, moisture, fog coming off the lake, uh, yeah, you can't blame a reel. I don't have that problem with the Abus, but I do watch it. And you got to watch it, because if your drag fails you, and it's not a big failure, it's just too tight all of a sudden, or it's too loose, then you're fighting a big fish and you're thumbing it more than you should, or you're trying to adjust it. When you have to turn this spool, when you're fighting a fish, you take a chance. You know, um, there are no preset adjustments, so that little turn could mean it's going to tighten it down, or that little turn could mean nothing. So great reel, uh, great price. The price is everything with this. Uh, Another way to start out is Garcias have been around for, what are they saying, 100-year anniversary? I don't know about that, but forever. Uh, they made the C5000 or the 5000C, I think 50 years ago, at least 40, and the reel hasn't changed hardly at all. In fact, a lot of the offshore reels are made are just copies of the 5000C, you know, with modifications to make it better. And they make, last week I had a handle, aftermarket handle on this. They make parts to make the spools wider, the worm gear with a bearing in it, internals, all, you know, there's parts to do anything. You know, all these boats can be colored. Like I said, the handle, you can do a lot of things. But straight out of the box, it mate with correct oiling, correct spool tension, cleaned. Uh, you can make the cast with this reel. I have done it, and I'm no champion caster. I just can get it out there, like most guys, and you can get it out there with one of these. Uh, if you went to buy a modern version, you know, would be the C3. Um, the C3 is a great reel. Uh, the upgrade to the C3 is there's a Carp Master that they've made for several years with a little bit taller gears, better handle, modern insides that can cast every bit of any other rod that's out there, and uh, that's not a bad way to go. Uh, they a little bit of caution. I hate to say it, but it's just true. They make a C3S and a C3SX that are made offshore. Internally, the parts are cheaper, and reliability and craftsmanship is straight out the window crap. Uh, uh, do not buy a C3SX or S. You'll be tempted, they'll say Abu Garcia and it'll look great, but it's not the same reel. And I know this from experience of just talking, and you know, I was interested, so I asked around. Everybody had a bad opinion, but I went to people who knew, who had them, you know, and they weren't experts, but they would tell me nightmare stories, and I was like, stay away, just stay away. So why I said this is you won't go out and buy one of these new. You'll find them at a pawn shop. You'll find them at a yard sale. You'll find them on marketplace. Uh, some people cherish them, and there are certain years, the date stamp right here, that are desirable. You wouldn't want to use one of those because you just want too much for it. The value's not there. The value here is when you find one of these for 10, 15, 20 bucks, um, you know, for sale. And then they're a value. And people find them, they're out there. Like I said, there's 50 years of floating around. So if you're starting out, you can mix and match. You'll see a lot of guys with five, all the same reels, matched to the rods, colors. You know, none of it necessary. None of it. It's just it's a luxury. It's a convenience when they're all the same, and it's nice, but it's not mandatory. When you're starting out, when I started out, I had three different brands of rods that first time out, just to get four rods out there. There are a lot of other expenses from the rods. The stands are a big expense. We use specialized carp stands and for pay lake fishing. There's a tube that's required. It's a big plastic tube. I'll show one on camera at another date. Required. There's another 40 bucks worth of an expense if you're starting out. Stands are easily $100. They used to be cheaper. You better find a place where you can buy them used because the new price has just exploded on stands. So that's a shop item. The rods are an incredibly good value right now. Amazing. And so are these reels because you're getting a $60 reel Pacific Sun and you're in the game. An upgrade, a step up, reel I use a lot. It is the Wicketed reel. I fish for Wicketed, so what a big surprise. But I'm not saying it because I fish for Wicketed. It's a good looking reel, but looks out, but it's not why I'm throwing this reel. This reel, and let me show you the competitor, is competes with the most popular reel, high-end reel in the game. Uh, this is an Abu Garcia 6500 rocket, Pro Rocket. This one happens to be. Uh, the Pro Rocket doesn't sell any more than the regular rocket. Guys who use Abu Garcia rockets, some have a preference for the older models. Um, the older models had more brass and a heavier frame. The newer models are lighter weight. This one happens to have and came with, they call it a power handle. That means it's one big handle, and this is left empty as opposed to a more traditional handle. This is kind of what most rockets have is a traditional double double handle. I'm not sure what they call it, but the traditional handle. Uh, to be honest, I used to prefer for one over the other. But when you fish, you prefer what you get used to. And if you have to change, like I had to change to a power handle, and within a couple casts, winding my rods in, like I have 10 or 5 of them, you know, within the second time I wound them in, I was used to the handle. Takes about a half a fishing trip, and you can get used to any handle, and you'll find it's not that big a deal. Sure, you'll have preferences, um, but you can see I use both, and I really don't. I thought I would, but I don't. You know, does one reel in faster? No, your arm reels in faster. You know, it's the little 0.%, and I can reel this faster than this reel is is somebody else's opinion. It's not mine. If I want to reel in faster, I reel my arm faster. I mean, it's malarkey. All right, where is it? Here's the deal. Wicketed came out with a reel, and guys, I got to warn you, and yeah, I'm sponsored by these guys. But this reel, a lot of companies started making reels. They order the parts, or they order them offshore, and then they modify them here in the U.S. And some of them don't. Some of them, the only modification is they slap on two sides and they say, "Oh, this is our new part model by XYZ. Look how great it is." I can show you. I'm not going to do it now. I've showed it in other pictures, and you'll have to read some of my articles. This isn't this isn't one of those Asian offshore knockoffs with cheap parts. In fact, this was the first version, and I've used this now over a year. I took it apart the first time. My partner, who's an Abu Garcia man, who's always helped me with my reels and maintenance, he set this thing up, and he says, you know, this is a 5000C on steroids with newer modern parts. And I got to tell you, with the spools in the side, I usually throw my longest cast of the night. I have one of these reels. I have three rockets. Now, hear what I'm saying. It will throw farther. Is it better? I don't know. It's on par. But that's a big thing to say. That's a real big thing to say. Um, oh, I should point out, this handle isn't stock. This is something they're looking into, some cool modded handles. And I thought it looked ugly as sin until I put it on. And then I was like, you know, it's kind of cool looking. And call me crazy, but I just haven't taken it off. The stock handle has padded big handles, big paddles, and put it on loose. But this thing is, I don't know, it feels good and it's just cool looking. And I'll probably get rid of it maybe, but right now it's too good looking to not not keep. Uh, when I say an upgraded 5000, this has ceramic bearings in it. It's smooth as all get out, oiled up and casted and retrieve is as fast as the rocket. Uh, the 5000s that I talked about, probably their biggest downside is they don't have the drag, the upgraded drag. So it is a little chore to wind them in. Like I said, you just wind faster, but it doesn't have the capacity of winding like a like one of these modern reels. Uh, the what I like better on the Pro Rocket is the drag system. I don't have any trouble with this Wicketed Envy reel. I know they've made improvements. They keep making improvements. I think there's 3 or 4 improvements they've made to this reel, including improving the gearing and the durability, which is all great. And I probably will. They're going to make kits for guys who've bought these so they can upgrade. But to be frank, I'm not sure I will. I will probably just to see it and do it because I'll get a kick out of that. But do I need to do it? Heck no. I mean, it does what I want it to do. It's done it all year. It's reliable. It's get out. I do loosen the drag out of habit, uh, and I have no problems. Uh, when I say I like the drag better on the Ambassador, what I really mean is um, it's smoother. And I'm not going to lie, I think they're doing something about that. It's not a huge deal. If you, it has to do with the way the spool spins, and it being a center spool or geared or not bearings in there or in the center. Uh, when you cast, uh, you control a lighter weight farther. Is it a big deal? Not really. I throw a 1 ounce weight with a big piece of bait on it. So uh, I only noticed it when I was throwing a 1/4 ounce weight, and I said, hey, and my partner told me the reason why, and the real guy, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Absolutely means nothing for carp fishing, And if I was starting out, I've talked about this before. Why I recommend this reel is it's 125, I believe, dollar reel, as opposed to $60 for the Pacific Sun. That this $100 reel will cast farther. If you look inside, you won't have any trouble. So I would have to pull apart these Pacific Suns. I'm not gonna lie, every 3 months and oil them out to get them working correctly. It's been all year. I pulled this apart and oiled it when I got it, and it's not been apart since. No need to. Just last weekend, it was casting with the Abu Garcia, and so you're saying, well, why not just go with Abu Garcia? The Abu Garcia is $250. Yeah, there are sales, and sometimes you can get them for 225, um, but it's still double the price. Um, like I said, if yeah, it's a matter of preference. If you go to a tournament and you win a couple grand one night, uh, and you can buy the Abu Garcia, at that point, these guys they sell this in purple, red, uh, 40 different flavors of colors and whatever, and guys will go match up of 4 or 5 purple reels with a rod and get a little crazy. I'm telling you, the Black Series is one of the cheaper of them, and it is, in my opinion, technologically as good or better than any Abu Garcia made. They make a Beast series that's $100 premium over this, which is all aluminum, but that gets into the real high-end graphite rods, that Teflon rods or boron rods. What guys would think would be great for carp fishing, turns out they're not great because they're too fragile. Carp fishing is rough on gear. My reels, even these reels, some of them are less than a year old. They've been through it because I put them through it. Um, I have a metal stand. They ride in the back of the truck. Uh, I fish them hard. I fish them a lot. I cast them a lot. I wind them in. I catch a fish. I'm pulling them out of the fish out of the net. They get bashed around. Carp reel has to be tough. You don't want a sensitive all aluminum reel that could take a hit and be whacked out of joint. Believe me, I've seen it, and it's not pretty trying to find an aluminum spool or aluminum sides. Uh, you know, good luck with that. Uh, Parts on this reel, the Envy and the Ardu Garcias are available. Uh, if you break this reel, believe me, I've tried. Just spend the $50 and buy a new replacement and make this a part reel, because you will not find these parts. Even though they say they're an American company, this is straight off the boat. And I'm not bashing it. Like I said, it's a great option if you're brand new, but just be advised, if you break something, if you lose a screw, uh, buy another one for parts. Um, Ron sells the parts for these. This isn't half the parts. A 5,000 C, the Abu parts will fit it, so you're not gonna run out of it. You're not gonna have issues. Um, and of course, the Abu Garcia uh, rocket, you know, these are used around the world, so for various applications. So parts are not a problem. Uh, this is my talk on reels. I hope to do more gear talk. I hope to do rods and hooks, terminal tackle, lines, uh, carp fishing stuff. It's kind of a 101 series with just some opinions of Donald. Uh, I hope you like it. Like and subscribe. Disagree. Bring me other options. Comment. Comment, comment, comment. I would love it. Uh, yeah, let's see me waving goodbye. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching this. You stayed to the end. Much appreciated. Thanks. Bye.